Sharp Game here, back with another video. Today I'm going to talk about what Japanese women think about foreigners. What Japanese women think about foreigners. But the thing you should be asking is what the parents think about foreigners. The reason why I say that is because Japanese women, for the most part, they live for the family. What the parents think about the decisions that they make is very important to them. And this goes back to thousands of years, man. You know, there's a lot of honor in that. That's based on their perspective and how they were raised and their culture. And another thing you have to realize is that there's different types of Japanese women. And a lot of them were raised in different environments with different values. And they have a different perspective when it comes to a lot of things. So, you know, some Japanese girls just do what the hell they want to do. And then you got some Japanese girls, the majority, do what the family wants. But that's the majority do what the family wants. And you got some, they bend but they don't break. So it really depends on what type of Japanese girl you're dealing with. And then you got to realize that it depends on where you're at in Japan as well. Because in the town, some towns, there's no foreigners. There's no black person, no white person around. So a lot of these girls, they might have never seen a black person or a white person. They might have seen them on television, but that's it. And a lot of times, a lot of the Japanese girls are kind of curious to know how it would be like meeting a foreigner. So that could be an advantage if you're coming from another country going to Japan. And then you got some girls that are like groupies. They're always around the military bases, trying to pick up guys. You know, some for fun, some for marriage, some for, you know, a good time or whatever, you know. Or some just to get what they can get out of the guy. Benefit, you know, nothing new. It happens everywhere, you know. So those type of girls, I would say, be careful. The ones that are coming around the bases all the time, like the regular groupies. You know, be careful with those type of women. Because those type of women, they've been around. So they're really, if you're new coming in Japan, they already know what you're going to do before you even get here, because they've been around. They've been around long enough to see how guys, especially young guys, how they act when they first get to Japan. So a lot of them will take advantage and try to manipulate you if you're new. But if you're a seasoned vet, they're not going to really rock with you like that, because they know you've been in Japan long enough to know better. So that's something to be aware of. And the thing about Japan is they're very Japan, for the most people in Japan, for the most part, are very passive. They're like passive aggressive, and they don't really think about anything. They kind of have a shallow way of thinking. Whatever they see and what they hear, they just roll with it. They believe it, and they believe it until proven otherwise. So they have a lot of stereotypes about black people, about white people, and they put white people on a pedestal. They treat them like they're God. So you have some women will say, "Oh, I'll sleep with a black guy, but I won't marry him." But they'll marry a white guy. You know what I mean? Some of them will say that. And some of them won't be ashamed of saying that. So you have those types. But I think those types of women are everywhere. And then you have some women where it's like the side that's winning, that's the side they're gonna lean towards. But I think that's across the board, especially in America when it comes to women. The side that's winning, that's the side most women are gonna lean towards in America as well. And then you got another thing you got to consider. You don't know what a lot of these women have been through in Japan. They may have had a tragic experience. And there's no mental health system really in Japan. They don't have a Dr. Phil. And you're not supposed to talk about any of your problems or anything that's going on at work or at home or in your personal life in Japan. You're just supposed to just suck it up, get over it. And that's very unhealthy and stressful. But that's how it is over there. They don't really talk about anything. And another thing about a lot of the Japanese people, I think a lot of them, they don't show any emotion. There's no public affection or too much of any of that. They don't, there's no hugging. They just bow, for the most part. Unless they known you for a long time or something like that, But they don't show a lot of emotions, any of that stuff. If you get with a Japanese girl, you have to teach her how to show affection towards you. Because she might not know how to, because they wasn't raised like that. And then they don't receive a lot of comments from the Japanese guys either. So if you give her a compliment, she might be thinking you're trying to make a move on her, or she might start getting turned on. It happens. So because Japanese guys, they don't talk like that. They ain't not Shakespeare. They don't use words to turn women on. That doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen very much over there. So you just never know what type of woman you're talking to or you're meeting or spending time with. But these are some things you should consider. Just depends on the type of Japanese girl you're talking to. But for the most part, that Japanese people aren't well informed about what's going on in the world. They're not even well informed what's going on in Japan. Most people, but they don't really. They're curious people. They're open. They're probably the most open on the continent of Asia. They're more open than the rest of the Asian communities. At least based on my experience. There might be some other people that's more open. I don't know. Maybe, I'm not sure. But based on my experience, Japanese are probably the most open as a whole. Now, there's always an exception to the rule when it comes to, just individuals or whatever. But overall, the Japanese tend to be kind of fascinated by foreigners. But at the same time, they're still thinking about what the family thinks. How the family is going to feel if they bring a foreigner home, especially if he's black. Because, the parents would prefer that their daughters and their sons get married to a Japanese person. Now, if she's gonna, especially the woman, if she's gonna get married to a foreigner, let it be a white person or anybody but black. A lot of parents think like that because this goes way back to during the history of Japan and with the U.S. government and everything, during wartime and all that shit, So when the parents make decisions, they're taking in all that into account, and that's just how they think, But most of the women, they'll bend but they won't break. They'll do a little bit of rebelling, but a lot of them will. They'll try to play that game. They'll try to. And then a lot of the another thing to be aware of is that a lot of times the parents will try to form a wedge in between you and the daughter and try to break y'all up. That happens a lot. They'll try that if they don't approve of it, of the relationship or the marriage. But the parents, especially the mother, has a lot of influence on the daughters. So if you can't really compete with that, you against the parents, that's a losing battle. I wouldn't even get involved in that. So it's a lot of stuff that's unfair, just in life in general, but the way a lot of people think, because a lot of Japanese people just are not well informed. They're ignorant when it comes to a lot of things. They don't understand how people can manipulate you without even they don't understand how someone can come in Japan and manipulate them and take advantage of them. They can't tell. They really can't. They have a hard time trying to point out who's who. They don't understand that. They don't really have good critical thinking skills because they weren't raised like that. They were raised just to do what they're told, and that's it. Don't ask any questions. And you'll see that real quick because they don't like. It's very hard to talk to a lot of Japanese people about stuff. They don't like talking about anything that's important, anything that makes a difference. They have a hard time answering a lot of important questions or anything that's going to change your life or make a difference in anybody else's life. They have a hard time showing empathy for other people too. Because they weren't raised to really show any emotions. So that's been my experience. But overall, Japan is a great place to visit. I don't have any complaints about that, but the people are very different. They've been raised very different. So that's just something to be aware of. So if you like what you heard in this video, subscribe to my channel and check out my blog at chooseyourrelationships.com. So until next time, Sharp Game is out.